We will defend them with all our power. We have a powerful air force now. We do have the capacity. The problem is coordination. We are trying to fix that. We are trying to create a defense mechanism. The cities are our red lines.
Well, for some more on this story, let's speak now to the former Afghan diplomat Omar Samad. Mr. Samad, Ambassador Samad, thank you very much for being with us on TRT World. Now, will the Afghan forces, do you think, be able to stop the Taliban from taking power?
Well, it's a question of what the Taliban strategy is at this point, aside from trying to take over districts. Is it also a strategy that wants to take over provincial capitals and then head to Kabul? If that is the case, then I think that you will have, we'll see and witness some major clashes around certain major cities or strategic locations. Who will win, who will lose, depends very much on a few factors like morale and the ability to sustain and to support forces on the ground. At the same time, if the Taliban strategy is to just capture districts, then in that case, I think that we will see some kind of halt at some point, and then maybe a try to see if there's going to be a possibility of talking and negotiating.
Well, let's pick out a couple of those points then. First of all, the capturing of districts. What would that mean for the central government in Kabul then, if most of the countryside is controlled by the Taliban and they just control the cities? How can they govern effectively like that?
Very difficult. I mean, governance has already been reduced over the past few years because, remember, the Taliban already were controlling more or less, depending on where they were, certain parts of the country. So national governance was reduced over the past few years. Right now, there are about 150 more districts out of 420 or so that have been captured just in the past 2 months. That is a huge number. Obviously, the ability of the government is reduced to govern. But I think the strategy on the government side might be to pull back all the way to the major cities and the major strategic arteries as well as strategic installations, and maybe defend the cities, which will make the cities turn into battlegrounds probably, which hopefully is not the case. So we do not know at this point where it's going, but the loss of districts obviously is has a major impact on the overall situation.
It certainly does. And Ambassador, I do wonder whether once we see all foreign troops leaving, if there is the continued surge of the Taliban, will the Afghan government at some point have to call back in foreign forces to help them maintain the peace?
Well, I think that the visit that a few days ago, President Ghani and Dr. Abdullah took to Washington may have raised that issue with the Americans. And it does not seem at this point that the Americans, at least, or NATO overall, is willing to come back unless it's a major dramatic situation emerging, not just because of the fall of this government, but mainly as a result of maybe a major counter-terrorism issue. The Americans have been very clear. They obviously are keeping an eye on terrorist threats, and they think that the Taliban Afghan government squabbles and battles are mostly a domestic issue. So it all depends on how the Americans and NATO see this and how it evolves. But I think that short of a dramatic, spectacular event, we will probably not see a return of foreign forces to Afghanistan under these circumstances.
Okay. Ambassador Omar Samad, the former Afghan diplomat, do appreciate your time, sir. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.